Thank you for joining me at Did You Know That? My name's Jerry, and today we're going to talk about cherubs or cherubim. If you say cherub, that's singular. In Hebrew, cherubim is plural, just like we would just put an S on the end of it. So we talked a lot about Lucifer being very powerful, beautiful, ultimately the first one to get kicked out of heaven. We talked about that. But let's talk about the fact that Lucifer was a cherub. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the features of a cherub, and we'll also have something to say about seraphim. But in Ezekiel 28:14, Lucifer is described like this. Now, if you recall in our other videos, Lucifer was evicted from heaven, and now he has the name of Satan or the devil. And this is what Ezekiel 28:14 has to say. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou was upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down amidst the stones of fire. Now, we've talked about that, and the fact that there's fire in heaven, and that our God is a God of fire. He's a consuming fire, which might be surprising to you. But the Lord says that Lucifer was a cherub. So what is a cherub? Now, I just want you to think for a minute. When you think of a cherub, what do you think about? Do you see fat little baby angels flying around with bows and arrows, and they're supposed to shoot them right at the heart of somebody who's supposed to fall in love? And do you see lots of hearts, and maybe you see candy hearts that say, I love you, or you're my friend, or you're the best, and you have all those. And but we think of cherubs as being these beautiful little baby angels, and we call them cherubs. Now, let's suppose that someone close to you, your daughter, your friend's daughter, your friend, had a baby. And you told a friend of yours, I'm going to go see that baby. And the friend says, okay, you have fun and you take some pictures. I want to see that baby. And when you get back, what does your friend say? Your friend says, well, how was that baby? And your response goes something like this. Well, I got a picture of it on the cell phone, but I want to tell you it had the sweetest little face. It just looked like a little cherub. It had those little heart-shaped lips. It was just so sweet, just smelled like a new baby. I just wanted to kiss that baby on its lips. Well, first of all, I don't think the mother of that newborn baby is going to let you kiss her baby on the lips. And second of all, let's take a look at the description of cherubim. Ezekiel 1 through 24, and I always quote from the King James Bible, says this. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month. That's how the Hebrews do things. They do everything by number. In their alphabet, every letter of the alphabet is one letter of the alphabet. It's a word, it's an idea, and it's a number. And so Hebrew-speaking people really get into numbers. So you don't hear stuff like the 3rd of May in 2019. You hear it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, like that, because that's how they describe it. As I was among the captives, those that were taken captive in Jerusalem when Babylon overthrew Israel, by the river of Chebar, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, okay, they're nailing it down to something that you can find in the records. The wind of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi. I like the name Buzi. If I had a son, I'd name him Buzi. In the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Now, that's usually a reference to heaven. When you hear the sides of the north or out of the north, heaven is presumably in the northern part of the heavens, which, by the way, people who study the stars will tell you that when they concentrate on the north, you don't see anything there. There's no stars there. There's no galaxies. It's different from the rest of the heavens. A whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Are you noticing how many times fire is referencing anything that has to do with God or heaven? Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance, that they had the likeness of a man. Now that was sort of like a man, not looks just like a man. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. That's like a baby cow's foot. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Now the Greeks had improved on polishing brass until it was so highly polished that it competed with gold in value, and it was very highly prized. So when they talk about burnished brass, that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about your average burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. And their wings were joined one to another, and they turned not when they went. They every one went straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side. Okay, now we're getting a little scary. And they had the face of an ox on the left side, and they 4 also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces. Well, I don't know about you, but now I'm assuming that there's not 4 heads, because it talks about the right and left side. But if I were walking down the street and I met somebody with 4 faces, I probably would cross over to the other side. I mean, that's scary. And the wings were joined one to another, and they turned not when they went, and they went every one straight forward. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward, wherever the Spirit was to go. And they went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and the appearance of lamps, so it had to be pretty bright. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire came forth lightning. Now, lightning means different things to different people. If you're east of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, you might see enough rain and lightning and thunder that you just go, it's just raining. But if you live in California, lightning's a big deal, especially the closer you get to the beach. I mean, if it lightnings, plus if it thunders, this is going to make the evening news. California struck with major rainstorm, and they'll have a big picture with lightning streaking across. You see, we don't get much rain here, much less lightning and thunder. And in fact, we have to purchase our water from other states. So that gives you an idea. So if we get a big flash of lightning and then a clap of thunder, you'll see people go, what was that? Somebody take out a power pole? They take down a transformer? By this time, you've run outside and you get another flash of lightning. Did you see that? I think that was lightning. Where's my cell phone? I want to put that on Facebook. Come on, let's go outside and watch. Well, if you live someplace else, first thing you know is not to go outside and watch. But you can always tell Californians if you're on a trip. If you're in a motel where they have easy access to a door to go outside, first sign of rain, they'll run out and watch it. Let's get back to the living creatures. The living creatures are so different from what we expected. Now, when I heard the noise, down in verse 24 it says, and when they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of speech, the noise of a host. When they stood, they let down their wings. Wow. That'd really be something to see if you can take it. Now, I don't know about you, but if I ask the Lord to send me an angel to help me with some situation I might be in, I don't know what I would do if a cherub showed up, because you see, we've also been programmed to just see angels with wings and long blonde or brown or black hair or blue eyes, and they have their hand outstretched to us, and they're saying, fear not. And you're going, are you kidding me? So I don't know about you, but if one of those living beasts came, I would go, oh, wait a minute. And I probably would just faint. I'd just fall down. I mean, there's a description of someone in Revelations where he just falls flat on his face. So I'm convinced these are very scary looking beings. So when I asked the parking angel for a parking space, I just want an empty parking space. I don't want a living beast standing there in it. So I think the big problem with this is it's not what I've been trained to imagine. I've been trained to imagine cherubs or even seraphim to look like people, to look like the cement statue at the cemetery, to look like what we all imagine as an angel to look like. But the cherubim that guarded the Garden of Eden were fierce, and they had flaming swords of fire which turned every way, and Adam and Eve were not allowed to enter. So remember that when somebody says they had the face of a cherub, because I think by now you have a different picture in your mind. I believe that before the fall, Adam and Eve walked among the angels. I believe they walked through different dimensions. I believe that their life consisted of many different spheres of power and authority, and they had power over it all. Satan hoodwinked them out of it all. In Isaiah 6, verse 1 through 2, it says this, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphim, and they each had 6 wings. With twain, that's with 2, they covered their face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. Now, verse 2 is probably one of the best descriptions that you're going to get of a seraphim. And if I find something else that I think is really relevant and really interesting, I'll put it in. But it appears, just from these readings, that the difference between the seraphim and the cherubim is that the seraphim had 6 wings and the cherubim had 4. Well, it's a lot to think about that Satan and Adam and Eve gave up such a position of privilege. It's stunning to even think about it. But that's all we have time today for. So I thank you for joining me. And did you know that? I don't know whether you knew it up. Maybe you knew more than I did. Wouldn't be hard. But if you enjoyed this presentation, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you for joining me. God bless you. And we'll see you the next time.